Well, welcome to the Middlesex Moments radio show. I'm Dr. Anna Wasesha, president of Middlesex Community College, and joining me today are two individuals who are involved in College Goal Sunday. So that's what we're going to be spending this show talking about. I have Glen Cassis, although if you're an aficionado of the Mediterranean side of France, you might know about the city of Cassis. It's spelled the same way but pronounced differently, yes, which is what we do. We Americanize everything. And I'll have Glen tell us a little bit about his role and why he's involved with College Goal Sunday in a moment, but I also want to introduce Michael Amouzou, who works here in our financial aid office. And financial aid at the college level is all about helping students to understand, first of all, what financial aid is, and then also figure out the best way that they can finance their college education. And people talk about this all the time now. So there's a college cost calculator, for example,
right,
on the website, and every college has to have it. I haven't opened a newspaper or a magazine in the last couple of months where I haven't seen something about the high levels of student debt and the concern about the quickly escalating cost of higher education. And, the question is, are we pricing ourselves out of the market? All those things. So we have a bazillion things to talk about. So let me just start with you, Glen. First of all, how did you even get involved with College Goal Sunday?
Well, I became involved with it in my other lifetime. I was involved with higher education and college, basically, student program dealing with math and science. And it came to my attention that College Goal Sunday was something that was going around the country. Connecticut wasn't involved with it at the time. This goes back about 7 years or so. So I was interested in that when I moved my position changed to become involved with the state, that is the African American Affairs Commission. So, this is something that we really need to be involved with. We need to get this information out to those students who are first generation students, and primarily those are African American students who need to understand the role that financial aid plays. So at that point I said, let's see what we can do in my office to get this message out. So that's how we got involved with it. It was something that we felt students need to know about, high school students need to know about it. So figured let's try it out and let's see if it works.
And do parents come to College Goal Sunday as well?
Absolutely. Parents have to be there.
Yeah.
Because high school students generally are at home with their parents. The parents are the ones who are working to get their students into college, and those are the ones who generally are paying for the college. At least part of it. So parents, yes, parents need to be there as well as the student. Sometimes we just have the parents there because they have all the information, but we like to have the students and parents there so there's some relationship so folks will understand what's going on.
Sure. When we come back after the next commercial break, I wanted to learn more about specifically what a student would encounter in a family if they came to College Goal Sunday. So let's pick it up there when we Well, welcome back. This is Middlesex Moments radio show, and I'm talking with Glen Cassis. I want to say Cassis because that's, but Cassis, who actually does not work for or with a college, but he is the executive director of the African American Affairs Commission, and you work at the state capitol. But you're very engaged in this. And then Michael Amouzou, who's in the financial aid office here at Middlesex. Over the break, I was just saying, I really don't know what's involved with College Goal Sunday. So can you kind of summarize, how would a student even sign up to come to this thing, and how parents find out more about it?
College Goal Sunday is a program around the state of Connecticut, but it's from the whole country. And then the students sign for the program that we have here for Connecticut by going to www.collegegoalsundayct.org. They can sign there and they can register. And then we have the program this year on January 27 from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. and around many sites in the state of Connecticut.
But it's all happening on that Sunday, and it's collegegoalsundayct.org. All right, so that's, and do you have to register to come to this? Yes.
You don't have to register, but it's preferred that you do register, because once you do register, you'll be greeted at some point by site coordinator at whatever place you register. You'll be advised of the materials to bring with you, and it's important that you come prepared for it.
What kinds of materials do you bring?
Students and parents need to bring tax information. They need to bring bank statements, pieces of ID forms, social security numbers, those kinds of things. The tax information, the most current tax information I have, it's nice to be able to provide your information as past tax year 2012, but that's not necessary. If you begin the process, you can always go back to it later on to fill in the actual numbers. You can bring your statement from your tax forms from 2011. Security numbers and bank statements, that information will be very helpful.
So I'm still trying to decipher what will happen. So I'm pretending that I'm coming to Middlesex Community College, which is located in Middletown, 100 Training Hill Road, and easy to find. There are signs on the roads down at the bottom, like by Highway 9, for example, that say, okay, so I come up here and I've got my parents with me and we've got these forms. Park in the parking lot and I come to...
Town Hall.
And Wheaton Hall. Oh, it's in Wheaton Hall,
It's
not
Wheaton
in
Hall.
Founders.
No, Wheaton Hall.
So I get out of the car and I walk up the hill, right? So you're going to get some exercise that day.
Right.
Yeah. And so who am I going to meet? Well, is it just you, Michael, or do you have colleagues there who will also be?
When you arrive, you not meet me only, but you meet some colleagues who are also financial administrator, and also you meet some other volunteers who are not financial administrator. They will greet you, and we have a welcome room where we will try to speak with the parent and the student, the guardian, about the process of financial aid, and also how to get money to finance the student education. And then we will be talking about that. It's like a lecture home. And then after that, we will take them to the computer lab where we have all the computer, and we will start the FAFSA, which is the free application for student financial aid.
So maybe one of the clues here as I'm trying to figure out this picture is that a student, a high school student, anybody who wants to go to college, can fill out this FAFSA form, FAFSA, even if they haven't applied to college yet.
Yes, so they're a senior in high school, and they intend to go to college in the fall.
And then it's an online form, and you're filling in, if you're lucky, your most recent tax year information and some bank information. So then does it automatically tell you what your eligibility might be, or how do you, what's the next step once you've actually filed your form with the federal government?
When you fill out the free application form, it gives us what we call expected family contribution. We call it EFC. That EFC, we have the experts in financial aid will be there. We have some colleagues from Yale University, from Quinnipiac. They volunteer, they will be there and tell you exactly how much you can get according to the school that you choose.
Right. So first of all, one of the things that our listeners should understand is that although this is happening at Middlesex Community College, it isn't absolutely necessary. In fact, it's not even expected that a student would want to go to Middlesex. Really, you want to go to college.
Correct.
And you could go to college in Kentucky, right?
Yes.
So every school will tell you the tuition and fees, but there's also, isn't it a fact that on most, maybe all college websites, there's this college cost calculator because you have to buy books and you have some travel expenses and things like that. So if you had your expected family contribution, you could start to figure out what you're going to have to pay to go to college for 1 year.
For 1 year.
Right.
And one of the other things too, it qualifies many students for Pell Grants.
Oh,
and
okay.
that's you have to have a FAFSA form in order to receive a Pell Grant.
Right.
To be considered. So that's very important.
It's incredibly important.
Yeah.
That's right.
For this particular event, like we said it before, the 2011 tax transcript or tax form is very important because we can use that to try to adjust the income and send it, but after the filing, we can readjust it and through the real data that we will receive.
Because you actually have to have your 2012 1099 forms, your tax forms, in order to make this actually work.
Right.
So it's a kind of a dry run.
Well, it's a little bit more than a dry run because once you're in the system, you can always go back.
Oh.
You can go back later on to update it, to provide the information you need, because the fact that you're there, that's the most important thing. And after going through this, you'll probably be 80 to 90% done with your FAFSA form. Although for some who, if they do have a completed tax form, they will be 100% done.
Well,
but
just
in most
perfect.
cases, if you have your forms from last year, 80 to 90% done.
And as you're saying that, I'm thinking, I hope that almost everyone who can go to college will go to college. I'm a real proponent of college education. And so let's say that you have a high school senior who starts a freshman year in college, or first year, and they've applied for financial aid. It's probable that they'll apply again and again and again. And these things have to be renewed every year, right? So this is a very good skill to have.
Yes.
To be able to, it's a way of managing your own financial future.
Absolutely.
Right, and it's a huge investment in your future. So this is a good opportunity to learn about it, and learn about it with your family there too.
Right.
We choose the late January, because we understand that some universities, they have a deadline, like March 15, February 15, and then College Gold Sunday help to beat those deadlines after you apply for the university that you choose.
I understand. I thought it was because it was Super Bowl Sunday. And when is Super Bowl Sunday?
Actually, this is the Sunday before Super Bowl Sunday, and it's purposely done that way.
Good.
I mean, we wanted to have it at a time when things were kind of slow, and it is, because that's generally the week that there's a break between, there's no games.
Right, because they've got all those players that got to rest up. And
Right.
Right.
There are no excuses, and that's we just try to make it so that will happen that way. We should mention that there are several partners involved with this. I think the primary partner is the Connecticut Association of Professional Financial Aid Administrators. They are the ones who will be working with the students and their families, helping them complete the forms. I mean, those will be the experts that are there. We also have KOP, which is the Connecticut Association of Educational Opportunity Programs. They are an organization that works with many first-generation students that are in high school, getting them prepared for college, helping them with enrichment courses and things like that. CHESLA just became a new partner in this.
Oh, that sounds like an acronym.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, Connecticut Higher Education Student Loan Association, state government agency. They, in fact, will be providing scholarships for each of the campuses that this program is on that day. $200, a sort of like a lottery system. Somebody who comes and completes their FAFSA form or sends it in will be eligible for the $200 scholarship.
That's a good incentive.
That's a good incentive. USA Funds is a national organization that is actually providing the funding for College Gold Sunday, and the African American Affairs Commission are the partners in this, plus the campuses and places that will be held.
Before we go to our next break, you mentioned first-generation college students. So in your mind, how would you define a first-generation college student?
That's a student whose parents have not completed college. The real purpose of this, one of the real purposes of College Gold Sunday, is to increase the number of adults with college credentials. We need a workforce that has college credentials in order for this country to be competitive. Change is going to have to be made with those who are not going to college, and those are generally the students who have no history of college. Their parents don't go to college. That's a group that's really been missing in the equation. If we're going to make a change, we need to get up to at least 40 to 50% of our nation in college. That's the group that is going to make a big difference.
That's right. I couldn't agree with you more. Well, we're going to have to take a break. And when we come back, let's talk about some of the sites around Connecticut. I want to make sure that we get that information out to our listeners as well, and anything else that we'd like to talk. Well, welcome back. This is the Middlesex Moments radio show. And we're talking today with Glen Cassis, and it's not Cassis, it's Cassis. And I apologize because,
fine. That's
well,
fine.
my last name's impossible to pronounce too, so I'm sensitive to that. But yeah, okay. I'll just blunder on, as I often do. Amouzou, do I have that correct?
That's right.
I hope
okay.
so. Michael Amouzou. So today we've got this great opportunity to talk about financial aid for college attendance in general, and then to encourage our listeners to look into College Goal Sunday, which is happening this year on Sunday, January 27th, 2013, which is, as you just pointed out, a week before Super Bowl Sunday. And we won't know until 2 weeks prior who the teams are, right, who are playing? Are we 2 weeks prior? We must be. Do we know who's going to the Super Bowl?
No, not yet.
Not
in
yet.
2 weeks we will know.
Okay. All right. So we're going to live in suspension on that one. I never used to like Super Bowl Sunday until I got turned on to all the food that you get to eat. It's like the one day out of the year you can eat this just terrible food,
That's
like
right.
teeny weenies and barbecue sauce, and so I look forward to it now every year. That and the commercials. Let's go back to College Goal Sunday. So one of the things I was wondering is if a student can't get to any one of these colleges, and we'll talk about where there are all these sites. So why don't we start there? There are sites all over Connecticut.
Yes, there's sites all over. We have East Hartford High School, Eastern Connecticut State University, Gateway Community College, Hall High School in West Hartford, Manchester Community College, and of course Middlesex Community College, Naugatuck Valley Community College, New Britain High School in New Britain, Norwalk Community College, Norwich Free Academy, NFA, and also Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Then the Science and Technology Magnet High School of Southeast Connecticut, which is in New London, right next to New London High School. University of Bridgeport, University of Hartford, and Windsor High School in Windsor, Connecticut.
So honestly, it's all over the state.
It's all over the state,
yeah,
basically.
Right.
And the other thing, too, if a student is not able to complete their form, or perhaps they aren't able to get there that date, they can also contact those particular sites, and generally they will be able to assist those students because there's a connection with the financial aid folks. They will work with students who need to get their FAFSA form filled even after College Goal Sunday.
Good. So it would be great if they could make it on a Sunday, because then they'd get to listen to the program and to learn more about what it means to pay for college. So if they don't get to that particular meeting, they've got other opportunities. Last year at this college, it looks like we had over 50 students who came to the event. What's the attendance like across the state? Do you find that this is a pretty popular offering?
Yes, it is. In fact, for the last few years, when we first started, it was in 2008, we had 6 sites. Actually, there were 350 students who were involved with it.
And now you're up to about 15 sites.
We're up to 15 sites, and last Friday, we had a registration of about 733 students registered. Now, last year, we had a total of 899 students, almost 900 students. So we were ahead of where we were last year in terms of our numbers. So we expect a good turnout. 4 years ago, we had 13 sites. We had over 1,000 students. Following years, that's our snow year.
Oh.
Our numbers just dropped a bit.
Sure.
And last year, we picked up to 900. So I think this year we'll do probably close to 1,000 again.
I'm going to ask Michael this question. If I had all the materials I need, I have my tax form, my bank information, I know my social security number, and is that about the extent of the information you need to bring with you?
Yes, most likely, if you are a student, you come with the parent. We can ask the parent the social security number and also the date of birth.
Date of birth.
Right. But if you are not coming with your parent, then you have to have all those information with you. That's what we will use.
But the financial information, it's literally just the tax and the bank statement, or is there some way that they appraise their assets, other assets?
Yes, it's because we don't have the 2012 tax form yet. Then we use those financial information to try to appraise, like you said, and give estimation of what will be the income, and then we send the FAFSA to the government.
Okay, so on average, how long does it take to fill out a FAFSA?
It takes, say, 15 minutes
okay.
to finish it with the professional financial administrator.
Mm-hmm.
And like Glenn said, we have the 15 site, but when you want to come to a Middlesex site, you take Route 9 and you get off on exit 11, and then you see Middlesex Community College, and you arrive and you come to Wheaton Hall. We will be there to help you to complete your FAFSA.
And I'm sure, though, that although it sounds somewhat simple, it's the devil's always in the details, that everyone's got personal circumstances. Their parents might be divorced or deceased, or they may be living with a guardian, and so there's somebody who knows financial aid who can answer questions that people might have about their own individual circumstance. One of the questions that I know that I've heard from parents, mostly in my previous career in Minnesota, was how destitute do you have to be to actually qualify for financial aid? I think people, and here's one of my concerns, we were talking about trying to get first-generation college students even introduced, get them onboarded to higher education, that when you don't have previous experience, you begin to tell stories to make sense of what, the world you observe. So here's one of the stories, which is, well, we have a house and a car or something. We're kind of middle class, or, we may have 7 children, but we're kind of middle class. So we can't afford to send our children to school because we would never get financial aid. What would you say to parents who, and their children who are in high school, who are already saying that they really don't have a place at the financial aid table to go ahead and come in and see if that verify that, if that's the case? What kind of advice would you give to families who think they probably wouldn't qualify for aid, so therefore they really can't afford college?
I would tell those parents that the free application for federal student aid is application FAFSA.
Oh, it's totally free.
It
doesn't
important.
cost you any money.
It's free. You don't have to pay anything.
Right.
We do it. But it determines the family EFC, which is the expectation of the income that the family can get to pay or to contribute to the student education. Now, if for instance you think like you'll not be eligible for the Pell Grant, which is the federal aid, we have universities and also colleges. They use that EFC figures to give you some other grants, some scholarship. And for instance, within the state of Connecticut, we have a state of Connecticut college grant. And also we have some institution, like here at Middlesex, we have a Middlesex Foundation grant that we give. You have many other scholarship that are merit scholarship from universities that are will be given through the EFC, through the FAFSA by the federal methodology. Therefore, we have determined that it's very important that if you want to really reduce the cost of your education for your children, it's important for your student to file the FAFSA.
So what's the difference between a grant and a scholarship?
We can say that they are in the same category because they are free money. You don't have to pay back. Also, what I want to say is that when you do the FAFSA, even if you are not qualified for anything, you will be at least qualified for student loan. And you need also the FAFSA to have a federal student loan in some regard. And then if you can, then that will become in the private loan. But it's very important to really fill out the FAFSA or complete it at the deadline and apply for the university or the college that you want to attend.
For the schools who have deadlines. So for Middlesex and community colleges probably don't.
Right.
But private institutions, and I don't know about the four-year institutions, they may have deadlines, or they're at least for maybe priority consideration
Right,
for financial aid.
Right.
And I would always encourage students to start as early and get going on this because there are limited numbers of scholarship funds that are available, and so you need to apply in order to be considered.
Very good. Yeah.
But one other point I want to make about this College Goal Sunday, and I know that when my children were going to college, they were doing financial aid, there were a lot of, and it still is, organizations around who say that they'll help you fill out the FAFSA form for a fee.
Oh.
Okay, so there are services out there that will do that, but this is something that you'll get probably better information, and it's free.
Right.
So they need to be very careful about those organizations that offer this for a fee. It's just not really ethical, but everyone's trying to make a living.
Right.
This is a free.
Yeah, it's not
service.
necessary. And even if the student doesn't get to College Goal Sunday, never even hears about this, so they can't do the rebound thing where they maybe call one of these schools or high schools and try to get help. You can always go to a financial aid office and
Absolutely.
say, hey, I need some help figuring out how to even do this.
Come to Middlesex Community College.
Right,
Have
right.
that happen.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I know there are websites and guidebooks about some competitive scholarships. Some of those are probably very worthwhile. We're reaching for something here on my desk. Glenn is reaching for it. So what are you going to show me?
Well, one of the things that we make available through the sites is a guide that we put together, that our office put together on financial aid. And it's 100 pages of financial aid opportunities for students in Connecticut and scholarships that are available, other places. We make that available to those who attend it.
This is perfect. And so again, I've been around colleges forever, for like half a century. Is that possible? It feels like it. But what I know is the students I've known who read through these things and really think about it and go through the effort to apply for them, they get scholarships.
Yeah.
So they should do this, and this is fantastic.
And that's a little carrot, a little bonus that goes along with it.
There are 5 or 6 scholarships per page, and all kind. And well, this is a world that people need to learn a little bit about. It's not a scary world. It's a very warm, welcoming world. The world of higher education. Just sort of paging through this booklet that Glenn has handed me. Important to say that there are scholarship funds that are designated for students in certain areas. So if you're interested in engineering, or if you're thinking about field work and you want to be an anthropologist, so those things are also really important to consider. It's a little bit like applying for a job. You're thinking about what are your skills and interests and what can you say to a granting agency. So yeah, this is a great resource. Perfect. You were saying over the break that there's a role for volunteers?
Yes. Even if you don't have a background in financial aid, you can be a volunteer by going to the website, collegegoalsundayct.org. There's a section for students to sign up to attend it, and there's also one for volunteers. Volunteers can do a number of things. They can help with greeting the students who come there, help with the registration, give guidance, help with we serve some food, give tours of the particular campus. So a number of things we just like to have other folks there to assist in it.
Good. So I hope that anyone who's out there who's got a free Sunday, because there's not much going on that week before the Super Bowl Sunday.
And for those who volunteer, they'll get a T-shirt.
Oh,
College Goal Sundays T-shirt.
very cool.
With sleeves.
With sleeves for a January event. That seems only fair saying that, but it goes by very quickly. But let me ask another question. If I'm not sure I want to go to college, should I go ahead and do this FAFSA this year just to maybe get some more information, or should I wait until I'm sure that I want to go to college?
You should do it. You should do it. Don't worry about that, whether or not you're going to go or not. By doing it, you're in the system. Much easier to be on time. If you're late, then that kind of eliminates you, or could eliminate you from opportunities. So
okay,
go
so
ahead.
our message to our listeners in the WMRD, WLIS listening region is, if you know anyone who is interested in going to college, whether or not they are sure that they need financial aid or they're doubtful that they might even qualify, this is this phenomenal opportunity on Sunday, January 27th, from 1:30 to 4:30 at 15 different sites. And you can go online to College Goal Sunday CT, that's all one word, .org, to just check out those sites. And if you can't make it that day, there are ways to help you out with that. Let's hope that everybody follows through on that. Well, thanks so much, Glen
Thank you very
Cassis
much.
and
Thank you.
Michael Amouzou. I'm Anna Wasesha, president of Middlesex Community College, wishing you a good day.